What up, Raffles? Welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the video in which I'm tackling the question, is Guyana the most boring country in the world? So, like I said in the previous video, go check out that video I just published where I addressed the question, is Guyana the most boring country in the world? Well, it is if you only have a one-dimensional view, if you're not very interesting as a person, or you don't have a varied list of interests, right? But here we are, we're back at, this is the entrance to the Pegasus Hotel. That is the I Heart Guyana sign in the background. It's probably flipped and sewn in the reverse because, you know, we're looking at it from front-facing camera. So they've actually completed this parking lot. So the last time I was here I actually showed you that they were building over a parking lot, right? They were building over this parking lot behind me, and now that parking lot is completed, right? And that is the I Heart Guyana, I Love Guyana sign, the entrance. And I'm glad that they they had a big sign in front here blocking construction work, but that has been moved. So they actually completed it. Now they've also built a sidewalk, right? So if you look behind me down here, there's a sidewalk that you can walk on with paving stones, with colored paving stones, and there's another sidewalk on the other side of the road too, right? So they've actually completed the sidewalk against the Pegasus Hotel and so on. So there's a whole lot of changes, things that are happening out here in Georgetown that are showing you that it's no longer just a one-dimensional city. It's no longer just a one-dimensional town, right? It's still Georgetown, quintessentially Georgetown, but it's no longer just a one-dimensional town. Here, for example, is a billboard, right? That's the billboard behind me showing Antony Blinken. So they're gonna be welcoming Antony Blinken, who is currently the US Secretary of State. He's going to be visiting Guyana during the coming week, right? And this is the vicinity. That's the American Embassy behind me, and what used to be the Canadian Embassy. On the other side, that is the Umanayana. That Benap is the Umanayana. And we're going to go behind now. We're going to walk towards walk on this new mall that they built towards the bandstand. Well, I talked to you about some of the things that make visiting Guyana actually much more than a one-dimensional experience, right? So this is the back of the I Heart Guyana sign, right? This is the back side of the sign. You can see how it's actually constructed and held up. Now, those of you, like I said in the previous video, if you are a foodie, then one of the things you can do in Guyana is do a food tour of all of the local cuisine that we have in Guyana. You can actually get, in some of these new hotels, state-of-the-art dining. You can get celebrity chefs, and you can get all of the cuisines that you're accustomed to in some of the food destinations of the world, like Paris and London and New York. You can get, you know, some of the same kinds of cuisine, whether it be Italian, French, Brazilian. In Guyana, particularly Brazilian cuisine is very, very popular because of her nearness to Brazil. And here at the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, they actually have a new restaurant, their own take on international cuisine, and their restaurant is called Fusion. Now there's a sign in the background, right? That's their Fusion. It's seen here, and it's reversed, right? It says Fusion on the Pegasus. You can see it's reversed, but That's because I'm using the front-facing camera for this video, and don't normally do that. Usually I make videos where I only show the back-facing camera. But this is the entrance to the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center behind me, and I'm showing you that you can go to the Pegasus Suites and get a dining experience that is equivalent to what you can get anywhere else in the world, in New York, Paris, London, Toronto, or wherever else you think dining is better. So it is incorrect to say that Guyana is a boring town if you have interesting and varied interests. So yes, you can do ecotourism and you can go to the Kaieteur Falls and some of the other areas, but you can get in some of the new restaurants and new hotels that are being built here in Guyana, you can get some of the world-class dining experiences that you expect to find anywhere else in the world. Secondly, out here we're talking about walking in Georgetown. Just doing a historical tour of Georgetown is kind of a interesting tourism experience, because Georgetown, as you can imagine, is one of the oldest towns in the Caribbean and in South America. It's the country in which the Guyana is, and Georgetown is the location for the first railway in South America, right? So there trains that ran in Georgetown were the first on the continent of South America, built here by the British while Georgetown was a British colony. So you can do a tour of Georgetown and see some of the really important historical sites. Right here is the walk on the promenade. This is the new promenade that is being built by the government of Guyana to beautify the surroundings. And here you can see this is a completion of this is a bank of restrooms that they're constructing. This, I think, is probably going to be completed sometime later on this year, but you'll be able to walk here on a promenade, particularly on the weekend, and get some outdoor dining experiences, right? There are a lot of food vendors, and I promise to do a video on just food, local food compared to the new fast food joints that are coming up. That's going to be covered in this month's video, this series of videos in July. But here the government is building a promenade with a number of kiosks where you can get local dining, right? And here, like I said, you can bring kids out as they do on a typical weekend and get kids entertainment. There are trampolines out there, right? Let me go up a little closer and show you. You might have seen this in previous videos, but here we are near to the Seawall Bandstand, and what I wanted to show you is, again, behind me, that's a new large kiosk that they're building for, I think, food vendors, right? These new police vehicles are now visible throughout the city. The government tries to beef up security in the city, you know, because one of the complaints is that Georgetown is unsafe. But here, these trampolines are usually kid-friendly entertainment on the weekends. You know, babies and toddlers and kids come out here with their parents and have a little bit of summer fun all year. Right, this is the Seawall Bandstand. That's the old bandstand that is being refurbished. Right, that's the old bandstand that is being refurbished. That's the Guyana sign that you don't normally see unless you go into the bandstand. You will see it. That's the Guyana sign, and this is the bandstand in the background. Out here, there is a sandbox. Right behind me, there are all those buildings, kiosks that they're building, and behind that, those yellow buildings, those are the police quarters, police training facilities. But here is the sandbox, right? A sandbox for kids that they've now built, and it's kind of completed. So yes, guys, among other things, you can do a food tour. So what else can you do in your travels and your tours to Guyana? There are a lot of indoor activities, festivals, music festivals. You know, we don't always have the best artists or the most popular artists. You don't see Taylor Swift down here in Guyana, but if you want to see some of the local talent that you probably will never see in New York or London, you have to come to Guyana to see some of our local artists. There is a dog training facility behind me. That's where the police dogs are being trained and kept. And you can hear them barking. Yeah, so some of the entertainment that you get if you want to do a entertainment travel tour, you probably need to check out the schedule. There is a schedule for entertainment, and the people who come to Guyana in the summer to enjoy Guyanese, local Guyanese artists when events are planned. And of course some of the Caribbean artists come to Guyana to perform as well. But the best time to do that is around Mashramani and Carnival earlier in the year, in February and March, when there is the, you know, the commercial carnival and the Mashramani celebrations. That's when a lot of the artists and artistes come out and perform. But what else? I mean, there's a whole lot more that you can do. I'm going to make a series of videos in future giving you, you know, some of the most important things to experience in Guyana once you're here. And you believe me, they're more than just touring Kaieteur Falls and touring the creeks. You know, there are things like the motor racing.
Distance 9 miles. Duration 2 hours.
So guys,
22 minutes 13 seconds. Pace 22 minutes 26 seconds per mile. 1,363 kilocalories burned
when you visit Guyana. Right, so I'm going to make a video specifically listing about a dozen things to do besides ecotourism when you come to Guyana that are actually worth doing. So some of you, for example, who are interested in golf, one of the things that I would do, there are guys who are telling me, you know, they want to visit all 50 states in the US, and I'm saying that is not interesting to me. That's boring. There are places that I wouldn't want to see or visit in the US, places where I would not be welcomed, and you know what I mean, right? There are racist places in America that I would not care to visit. There are places in you know, in Tennessee and in the middle of the country, Arkansas and Kansas and Missouri, that I'm really not interested in visiting. And that's not because I think these places are boring. They just don't interest me, right? So the same is true for any kind of traveler or any kind of tourist. There are places that you want to see that are part of your interest. Let's say I visited the US as a tourist. I would want to, for example, be able to play on all of the golf courses, right? All the major golf courses. So in the US, there are these major golf courses where you can, you know, play. Some of the courses that are usually used in the PGA Tour, now I guess the PGA Live Golf Tour, you know, places like Bethpage State Park there and their golf course on Long Island, you know, some of the golf courses in Florida and in California and so on. So I would want to tour, for example, instead of going to visit all 50 states in the US, I would want to visit all of the locations where the PGA plays their major golf events, right? All the major golf courses in Georgia, for example, California, and so on. So my point is that there are a number of interests around which you can plan a tour, a visit to any country, and Guyana is no different, right? You can plan a tour that is basically a food tour or a golf tour or a tennis tour. Like, for example, if I go to Europe, I might want to go visit Wimbledon. I might want to go visit Roland Garros. You know what I mean? If I'm a tennis fan. So the tours that you plan are not as one-dimensional as going to where everybody else is going, but you can plan a tour of a country or a place based on your own interests. And that's all that I'm saying, right? So Guyana is as boring as you are. If you think Guyana is a boring place to visit, it's probably because you were a boring person. So that's what I'm saying, guys. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Here is cricket. This is one of the cricket grounds, right? If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share it in the comments below what you think of Guyana and tourism, and what are some of the places that interest you. In other words, if you would plan a tour, how would you plan it? And it doesn't have to be a tour that everybody else is doing, it's just based on your interests, right? You might have an interest in storytelling and all of the Jumbie stories and Nancy stories, and you can actually go visit some of the places where those stories are based or made, and you can do that in Guyana. So share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. It's Monday morning. It's Monday the 3rd of July. Here we are at the corner of Carifesta Avenue and Camp Street. Behind me you can see that's the place advertising Kaieteur, tours of Kaieteur Falls. That is the police training center, police recruitment and training center. Over there I think is the karate club, and that's Carifesta Avenue. So guys, share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. Later!